Many thanks to Squarespace for sponsoring this week's video. So with 2024 just kicking off, one thing that's on many of our minds is New Year's resolutions and how we can make this the best and most productive year of our lives. And after doing this annual goal-setting tradition the majority of my life, I've noticed a clear and present pattern that my benchmark for a successful year is always predicated on productivity and how much I can accomplish in a single year. See, I'm the type of guy that measures the quality of a weekend based off of how many things I can check off my to-do list. So if I have a weekend where all I do is relax and say watch movies and just chill, well, that in my mind is not a great weekend. I'd much rather stay busy and accomplish a great many things. So in years past, my photography-specific New Year's resolutions were always something like, I guess, focus on post-processing education or work on new compositional techniques, try more black and white or macro photography, and create at least one keeper per month. It has always been some variation of that, but I always set around 7 to maybe even 10 photography-specific New Year's resolutions for myself. But this year, I'm going to do things a little bit different, as last year, I had a great deal of success with the approach of accomplishing more by focusing on less. See, people, or most people, set some level of New Year's resolutions. Some of us will actually stick with them, but many of us will fail. But nevertheless, that doesn't stop us from going through this beginning of a year kind of goal-setting tradition. So what I'm going to do this year, and I didn't set out last year. I didn't set out in 2023 to do this. It kind of just happened to me. See, last year, or 2023, I'm filming this in 2023, but it will go live in 2024. But last year, in 2023, I traveled more than I ever did in my entire life. And it changed my life. I learned so much. You know, there's a saying out there that travel is by far the best form of education. And I learned a lot. But what it did is really improved my photography the most. I think last year was the most my photography has ever improved in a 1-year cycle since I've been into photography. And it's because of this one thing. So the overarching theme of what I'm going to do in 2024 from a New Year's resolutions perspective is when it comes to my photography, I'm going to keep this simple. I'm going to keep this very simple. That is the overarching theme. And I'm going to do that by focusing on one single thing. And this one thing is going to improve every aspect of my photography. There's another saying out, I'm always throwing out these sayings, but there's another saying out there that the rising tide lifts all ships. And that's exactly what this New Year's resolution is going to do for me. It's what it can do for you as well. And it's by simply going to new locations more often. Now, before you click off the video, before you click off from here, the reason why this is going to improve all facets of your photography, the reason why this rising tide will lift all ships, that's where the real power in this comes from. It's not just the singular idea of going to more new locations. That's not why this will work. So the reason why this will work is there's a few layers here. The first one is when you travel to a new location, you are automatically inspired. And I do want to say this real quick. You do not have to travel to Australia or Bali or Hong Kong or Italy or anywhere like that to do this. If you cannot hop on an airplane and you just have a car is perfectly fine. You don't even have to leave your own state to do this. Traveling to a new location could literally be somewhere that is a 30-minute drive from your home. It doesn't have to be anywhere. You don't have to travel the world to do this, is basically what I'm saying. But when you go to a new location, you will automatically be inspired. And you'd be hard-pressed to find anybody out there that says that being inspired doesn't automatically improve some things. That is one of the biggest sources of improvement, is when you become inspired by something. So going to a new location will automatically inspire you. Now, when you go to these new locations for photography, you are obviously going to be more inspired, and you're there for photography, so you are going to do photography. That right there, just the act of doing more photography is going to improve your photography. Now, I don't know about you, but I only post-process, I only edit photos that I'm excited about. And when I go on a trip, say I go on a 2-day trip and I capture, let's just say 300 photographs. Of those 300 photographs, there might only be 2, maybe 3 photographs that I'm really, really excited about. And I will only post-process those photos. The other ones I'm not going to. But in order to get to those 1 or 2 or 3 photographs you're going to post-process, you're going to have to shoot, or you're going to have to photograph many photographs. So by going to these new locations, you're going to get more inspired. By traveling to these new locations more often, that means you are going to be inspired more often. That means that you will be photographing more often, which means you will be creating photographs that you want to post-process more often as well. And the more you photograph, the more your post-processing is going to improve as well. The more you photograph, the more your camera techniques are going to improve. The more you photograph, the more your compositions are going to improve. The more you photograph, the better your photography will become. And there's another one in here I forgot to mention as well. I wrote down some notes here, but the more you photograph, the more your confidence will improve. So this is kind of where this trickle down effect comes from. It all starts from doing one thing: traveling more often to new locations. And I can't preface this enough that you do not have to travel the world to do this. You can actually set a New Year's resolution to travel to more new locations in your own state, or within a 1-hour drive of your home, or to visit every state park in whatever state you happen to live in, or whatever region you happen to live in. You can keep it that simple. But just by going to these new locations for photography, will help you to improve all of those areas that I mentioned. And there are limitless amount of other things that I didn't even mention here. But just the act of having that camera in your hand will improve every aspect of photography. That's the beauty of photography, is as long as you're doing it, you really can't get worse at it. As long as you're doing it, you will get better. Now, you might be saying, well, Mark, why can't I just set a goal that says just do more photography? Yeah, you can do that. You can just say do more photography. But how are you going to do more photography? What's going to make you go out there and do more photography? And what I have found works best is by traveling to those new locations. So my goals for 2024 is to keep things simple, and I'm going to do one thing. And I'm just going to travel to new locations. That is automatically going to inspire me. That is automatically going to get me out there photographing more, which will help me to improve my composition, help my camera techniques, help my post-processing, help my confidence, keep me inspired, and just overall improve my entire skill set of photography. So if you are one of those people out there that really don't like setting New Year's resolutions, you probably loved this video, because it could not be easier than this, just keeping things simple. Like I said, to kick this video off, I used to do 7 or maybe even 10. I think even one year I did 12 or 13 New Year's resolutions that were just focused on photography. And that was probably the year I accomplished the least of those New Year's resolutions. I made it so difficult. And I have found that I perform the best when things are very simple. And by focusing on less, it's a great way to accomplish more. And that's what I'm going to do in 2024. And hopefully this video might help others out there. If you do struggle with coming up with a bunch of New Year's resolutions, I do feel like there is this idea that we have to come up with so many different resolutions in order to have a successful 2024. Some of my most successful years in my life, I haven't really created any New Year's resolutions. It just happened to work out that way. So that's what I'm going to do for the new year. Hopefully you enjoyed this video and maybe got some helpful information out of it as well. And before I do wrap things up here, I do just want to say a big thanks to the sponsor of this week's video, which is Squarespace, who I use for all of my website and e-commerce needs. Squarespace provides a robust and beautiful online platform to develop your website. You can showcase your photography using Squarespace's professional portfolio designs and display your work using customizable galleries in order to make it your own. And with Squarespace's online store feature, you'll have access to all the tools you'll need to start selling your physical, digital, or service products online immediately. You can even use Squarespace's new asset library so you can upload, organize, and access all your content from a single place in order to easily find and use them across the entire Squarespace platform. So if you're looking to start a new website or possibly upgrade your current website, check out squarespace.com/Mark Denney for a free trial and 10% off your first purchase. So I do hope that information was helpful. And if you have any suggestions for me, perhaps how you set your photography specific New Year's resolutions, please leave those in the comments section below. I've always been a kind of a productivity, nerd, if you will. I've always really been into it. I've read tons of productivity books. I've read tons of books on successful goal setting, how to set yourself up for success in a new year. It's just kind of it's not a hobby. It's just something that I'm really into. I'm always trying to I'm always trying to perform at my optimal level, to be the best version of myself. That's the most common saying out there. And every year I'm trying to improve. I want my 2024 Mark Denney to be better than the 2023 Mark Denney. And I want my 2025 to be better than 2024. I always want to be improving. I always want my current version of myself to be a better version of my past self. So setting goals is a great way to do that, and documenting those goals is super powerful as well. And if you struggle with, I've done this before in the past as well, setting annual goals for the new year, make quarterly goals. And then check in at the end of each quarter to see how you're doing. And if you did not achieve your goals in Q1, maybe make an adjustment to something that you could achieve or something that is more attainable in Q2. That's another popular technique as well. So anywho, before this video just goes on and on and on, I do want to thank you for spending a little bit of time with me here today. If you did enjoy it, if you could, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already. And if you have any questions, comments about anything covered in this week's video, please leave those in the comment section below, and I will do my best to get back in touch with you. And I do want to wish you all a very happy new year. Best of luck in 2024. And thank you so much for all the support in 2023. It really does mean a lot. And I will see you all next Wednesday. Bye.